So moving on a little bit, we're gonna review a film here, which is on the road to the top 10 of 2020. This movie came out in 2020. I had a feeling it has potential to be in contention for the top 10 of 2020 of my list. Probably expect that list maybe in, a couple more weeks. I want to get that list out before I go back to work. But anyway, getting back to the film that we're about to review, I'm going to review a film that's also available on Hulu. It's called Sputnik, or however you want to pronounce it. This is a Russian film. It's a cosmic horror about a lone survivor from a Russian spacecraft in the Cold War era, and he may or may not have brought something back with him from outer space. And that's all I'm really going to tell you, because I feel like this film is definitely better not knowing anything about it before watching it. Like, don't watch the trailer. I didn't watch the trailer. I just kind of heard about the film, watched it, came out in 2020. I heard it was good. It's a cosmic horror. I have a soft spot for that. I think you guys, if you have been listening to me, you kind of know I have a soft spot for sci-fi in general, let alone sci-fi horror. I'm a huge fan of the genre, so take that into account when listening to my opinion about this film. But yeah, so it's a foreign language film. It's a Russian film, so also take that into account when me reviewing this, because I've been known to kind of like not catch everything from foreign films. You're reading things, you're trying to pay attention to the visuals at the same time. Sometimes I, kind of miss a lot of things. But anyway, the film, very clever title too. If you want to find out something a little bit interesting, look up the meaning of Sputnik after you watch the film, because the meaning of Sputnik means like a traveling companion, which is hilarious. It's not hilarious, but it's just a great title for the film. Also, it's relevant to Russian space flight, which is in the film, but it's also relating to something else, which you'll find out in the film if you watch it, which I thought it's a very clever title. Yeah, what does it do well? What does Sputnik do really well, other than being part of a genre that I absolutely love? Well, it gives us a unique story and a concept that I haven't quite seen before. It's familiar, but different at the same time, which I really liked and I really appreciated, because I love originality, especially in the sci-fi genre. I mean, you definitely see the influences. Definitely, I would say The Thing is definitely kind of an influence here, but definitely it's definitely new as well. It's a new concept, and I really liked it a lot too. It's very efficient in building suspense for sure. It does I think it's directed pretty well. Really good visuals at times. Good directing. Just techniques in general to kind of like make the audience a little bit uneasy. I like that a lot. You need to do that when you're directing a sci-fi horror, or just horror in general. The acting I thought was really good. I know it's a little hard when you're watching actors who don't speak your native language and you're reading subtitles. It's a little bit hard to tell if the acting is really good or not. But I think you could tell enough that I think the three main actors in this film do a really great job, especially the main actress. She does great. I'm not even really going to try to pronounce their names, because I'm going to absolutely butcher them. So I'm just going to stay away from that. Look on IMDb. I mean, they're great. All three of them are awesome. But the visual effects are also quite impressive. I'm sure I haven't looked up the budget to this film, but I'm sure it wasn't a large one. You can definitely tell that they kind of had a budget, because there's certain scenes that they kind of skimp out a little bit, or just kind of like they cut away from like the main thing that's happening. And that's frustrating when you're watching it at the time, but just kind of remember, like, they do that because they're saving probably money in their visual effects departmental budget for later scenes. So just kind of keep that in mind when watching, because I just kind of like threw my hands up. I was like, oh, come on, you're not going to show me it? God damn it. And then it's like, well, they show it later. So just relax, be patient a little bit. You have to remember this isn't a fucking Christopher Nolan film that has an unlimited budget. It's a limited, but it's gonna have a limited budget. It's not a very large film, well-known film or anything. So you got to find out interesting techniques to get around the budget. I mean, it's not as clever as like Steven Spielberg's Jaws or anything, but I mean, I think they do a good job with what they have and what they're given. I did enjoy the musical score at times, which kind of leads me into what the film doesn't really quite do too well. So let's just get into that. I mean, I liked the score, but I feel like sometimes it's a little bit misused. There's like certain subtle scenes, like we're driving into the facility in the very beginning of the film, and it's just like a really loud, bombastic score playing in the background. And I'm like, I don't need a score to let me know that we're going into battle or something epic is happening when we're literally just driving in a car. No, we want the score to be a little bit subtle in the background, ominous, we're entering dangerous territory. That's what we want the score to let us know about. I feel like the score doesn't a decent amount of times where it's so loud and bombastic, it like takes me out of the immersion. I'm like, really? Do you really need to be that obnoxious right now? Musical score? I'm going to feel like a good example of that in like, say, like Interstellar is a decent example that I'm kind of coming to mind right now. I mean, the score is phenomenal in Interstellar, but like it's so loud sometimes. It kind of overpowers the scene and might take you out of it a little bit. But I mean, like, the musical score here is no score by Hans Zimmer in Interstellar. Like, it's not even comparable. I mean, it can be pretty good, but still not what you would want it to be, especially in the horror genre where music can really enhance a film in a way. So, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed in that regard. I think a couple of narrative things were a little bit confusing to me. Like, the main reason why our main character is involved in the story, I thought was kind of glossed over and just kind of like, I don't really, that's the reason you're gonna involve her in this like top secret thing that you're doing? I mean, okay. I mean, I guess, sure. I don't know if that will bother anyone, but it kind of bothered me a little bit. I was like, is that a good enough reason to like let her in on probably one of the biggest things to happen in like human history right now? But also I feel like some other narrative things, like there's a sort of twist at the end of the film that I didn't really understand what the purpose of it was. I mean, it's not a twist that comes out of absolutely nowhere. It's teased throughout the film, but then like it's revealed to you and you're like, so what really is the point of revealing that to us? Like, it doesn't really add anything new to the story. Like, for example, His House. I just reviewed that in my last episode. That film has a twist in it. The thing that twist does that this one doesn't is that it kind of recontextualizes the whole film for you, and it adds something narratively and, also adds something with character development and makes character actions in like that happened in the previous scenes of the film make a lot more sense, and it just makes the film a lot more interesting, and rewatchable. Like this twist, like when it happens, you're like, okay, I mean, kind of clever, but like it doesn't recontextualize really that much for you, I feel like. Because it's just like, well, I feel like our main character is still going to do what she does in the film, even without revealing that to us. I mean, I could have missed something, again, it's a foreign language film. I could have missed something narratively, but I was just kind of left scratching my head. I mean, it's not a twist like absolutely ridiculous and stupid like a Shyamalan twist can be, but it's not like a good Shyamalan twist that like recontextualizes the whole film and makes you view the whole film in another light. It's not like that either, and I just kind of felt like I don't understand why this is even in the film. And I mean, I guess it enhances a relationship between two characters, maybe, especially how the whole movie ends. I felt like was kind of, I don't know. It was just kind of weird. And I just didn't really emotionally connect with the twist, and I felt that was pretty disappointing to me. But yeah, again, I could have missed something, but I feel like I didn't. I paid pretty close attention to the film, and I don't know. I just felt like the twist was kind of unnecessary. I didn't really see the point of it. But so overall, my thoughts on the film, I still really liked and enjoyed the film. It's a unique experience. I mean, I feel like my expectations for this one were really high because I heard nothing but good things about it. So I thought it was going to be like, for sure, like this movie's going to be awesome. So I was a little bit disappointed to like kind of see that I didn't absolutely love this film, because that's exactly what I wanted to do. I want to do is to tell you that this movie is like, you have to watch it. It's amazing. But I kind of feel like it turned out to be, I mean, if you're not a cosmic horror fan, and if you're not a horror fan or sci-fi fan, I mean, you probably could skip this one, to be honest. But I mean, I still think it's a solid film. But again, I'm a sci-fi horror fan, and I don't get many of those films a year. So anything that comes around that's in that genre, I'm usually a fan of. And I mean, it's still a unique experience. It's something different, and I think the film still does a lot right. I think it just does a couple of things, doesn't really capitalize on its actual potential, which is a little bit disappointing. But yeah, and that's nothing to do with the funding of it either. I think the effects are fine. I just think narratively it could have been a little bit more, I don't know, emotionally developed, I guess. I don't know what the best word of it is. But does it have my movie magic? Does it have the Mikey's movie magic? I think it just about gets it. I think it does a lot. I think it does enough to get it. I mean, again, it also helps that it's a cosmic horror film, and that's one of my favorite genres of film. So it definitely helps my opinion out. But yeah, I don't know. Will it be in the top 10 of 2020? We'll see. I mean, there's a decent amount of films that are in contention that I think, and some of them that are absolutely going to be in there. So I don't know. I would have to take a look, and stay tuned for that video coming soon. But yeah, like I said, if you're not a huge sci-fi horror fan, I think if what I've said doesn't intrigue you that much, you can probably skip this one. But yeah, Sputnik, check it out if you are interested. It's available on Hulu. Hello there. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're unfamiliar with this channel, this is Nerd Out Sanctuary. I'm your host, Michael. What do I talk about, you say? Well, I talk about anything nerdy. So that's movies, video games, TV shows, comic books every once in a while. Books, maybe not. I don't know. Anything that I feel like talking about. I'm a huge nerd. I hope you're a huge nerd, and I hope we can enjoy our nerdiness together here. This is a full audio podcast available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the major podcast platforms. So consider going over to those and checking out the full version of the episode. And other past episodes, please leave me a review and subscribe on those platforms. If you don't want to do that, clipped, shorter versions of those full episodes will be posted here on YouTube. So consider subscribing and liking the videos for more to support me and future content that I will be producing in the future on nerdy stuff. So yeah, thank you, and see you on the next one.